Black Americans helped build this country. After slavery, we didn't even get 40 acres and a mule that we were promised.
We're going to take a moment to respond to some comments. So
when it comes to anything black, it's always, they don't deserve this. They're not going to do what's right with the money.
A loss of $20 trillion of wealth.
You don't have to be a victim to get what you're owed.
Oh, we're all the same now. We're all equal. Stop it. It's not.
Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to take a moment to respond to some comments. So for context, about 2 months ago, we recorded a series of videos around reparations. We got a decent amount of feedback, not good. So we're going to actually read some of that feedback and respond to it. So the first comment we're going to read is from a person that will remain unnamed. And they said, reparations have been paid through food stamps and welfare. So that person believes that our comments around reparations actually don't make sense because they thought that food stamps and welfare actually was the form of reparations. So what I'm going to read real quick is a rebuttal against that because that comment made no sense. So per the U.S. Department of Agriculture's 2019 annual report of households and individuals participating in SNAP, the food stamp program, 37% of participants are white, 26% are black, 16% are Hispanic, 3% are Asian, and 2% are Native Americans. If you put in context, the majority of the U.S. population is white. 37% of the U.S. white population is receiving food stamps. 26% of the black population, which is smaller proportionate to the U.S., is receiving food stamps. The fact that people have the audacity to say that reparations were paid via food stamps and welfare makes no sense.
Absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. And at the end of the day, I mean, you can't equate what we did for this country to food stamps. Stop it.
Get you
Stop
some
the
food
bullshit.
for being a slave.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
And all the lives that were lost doesn't equivalent to like bread or food, something like that.
It diminishes
off a piece of paper.
Just asinine shit.
Yep.
Go ahead, Will.
Just sounds foolishness to me. Go ahead. Comment number 2.
So comment number 2, this person, again, not a great comment. They said, reparations already happened. Look it up. It was given to the people that were actually slaves. Go to work.
He put already happened in caps with a lot of exclamation points.
So
just to add that.
What is your response to that?
I thought it was foolishness when I first seen that. I actually thought to myself, wait, what are they talking about? You know what I mean? There's always an excuse. Even with the slavery comment, people will be like, oh, there's been more slaves today than there has been back then. You know what I mean? To try to justify the means. But it's just ludicrous and it just sounds like, you know, these people don't know what they're talking about.
Do you actually think that reparations occurred and that people who were enslaved or descendants of slaves actually got paid back for the
Absolutely
damage
not.
caused?
Yeah, and you could be any being. You could be white, Hispanic, black. Just for you to even think that they actually paid those slaves the money, you got to be some type of remedial type of person. Seriously. Like, come on. They were slave masters. You think they kept it fair to the slaves?
And you mean to tell me 400 years of that, they actually paid that to all?
Exactly.
You know, there's no number.
It just don't make sense.
So
You're just saying stuff.
So before this, what we decided to do was just look this up. Did slaves and descendants of slaves get paid? So this is what we found. There was a time when reparations were actually paid. Unfortunately, those payments were made to slave owners and their descendants rather than the enslaved or their descendants. So some studies estimate the losses from unpaid wages and lost inheritances to black descendants of the enslaved. It's somewhere around, in 2021 dollars, a loss of $20 trillion of wealth. Or
20
income.
trillion.
20 trillion. How? It's food stamps. Nothing would accumulate to $20 trillion. Like that doesn't make sense.
Nope.
Comment number 3. This person said, the answer is no, emphatically with caps, exclamation point. Answer is no, because where do you stop with it? Almost every race has been treated disgracefully, not to mention the genocides at various periods in history. I am Irish. Look what was done to us. You don't see us looking for money for something that didn't happen to these generations.
Yeah.
Keith?
All right, let me explain something to all you people that be like, I'm from Ireland, I'm from Italy, I'm from other. Go to them fucking countries to ask for reparations. This is America. You can go to those countries and ask for reparations. That has nothing to do with America. We were here from the beginning. We were brought here also. You guys migrated here, and you can get reparations from over there. Not to mention that when you guys migrated here, you got a lot of benefits when you did come over here. So I wrote up a little something myself. Yeah, Ireland or any other country doesn't have anything to do with America. Reparations are for Americans, not immigrants, sorry. And then when you say, where do we start? We never started. Black Americans helped build this country. After slavery, we didn't even get 40 acres and a mule that we were promised. That's why Spike Lee's production is 40 acres and a mule. We never got that at all. But let's go back. We're talking about how the Civil War was required to end racism. We actually helped out in that too. It were Black Americans in that war. Let's go into more stuff. People tend to be immigrants talking about American reparations when we face more atrocities in this home country than most of y'all did in your own country. So that's another problem that we have when other immigrants are talking about reparations or talking about what happened in Ireland or, other stuff.
And essentially, it's like, you're not saying that whatever may have happened to them is okay.
No.
It's not okay. And maybe they do deserve some sort of reparations.
You
but
guys
to say
deserve
that
it.
Here.
Yeah, you guys deserve it, but you guys have to put up that shit in another in your country. That has nothing to do with us. Yeah, exactly.
And you know what's funny? I kind of they don't deserve shit.
Let's keep it
because they fucking benefited in that time period. In fact, they white now.
Let me explain this. Most immigrants, when they come here, they get a clean slate of credit. I wish I could go somewhere else and get a clean slate of credit that's better than America. I'll fucking crash my credit here, then go to another spot, got a clean slate of credit, I get benefits, and I get housing help. So when y'all all come here and then come back and be like, oh, black people need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, y'all come here with free checks and free money and free housing. So let's cut the bullshit with that, with the whole reparations.
And I don't have all the statistics on this, but I do know, and I have heard that some of you Irish folks, you benefited at that time. Like, you weren't treated like the black.
It's not just Irish though. That's what I'm trying to explain. Every country that comes here and they get the benefits off of our tax dollars.
You know what it is? It's like the semantics of it though. Like, they definitely experience challenges.
No, they do.
Throughout this whole nation's history, every immigrant that came here was taken advantage of at some point, right? But there's a difference because there's a specific immigrant type that was brought here enslaved. Mm-hmm. They didn't come here willingly. They came here and then they were indentured servants for a period of time, like 200 to 300 years.
There are bridges, there are roads, there are railroads. There are housing complexes that
the White House
that came through from our work, from Black Americans' work. And you guys came here, you go over the bridges, you go through the railroads, you use everything that we helped build. So I hate when people say Black Americans that helped build this country. It's a fucking lie.
It's a very big difference. And so it's like, to try and compare it, it's incomparable.
Very incomparable. Because
when you have a choice,
and it's very disingenuous.
And especially,
hold on, let me finish.
Go ahead, my bad.
It's very disingenuous too, as an immigrant to come here after me and our ancestors' descendants actually built this country, and then tell us we ain't shit after you came here off our back. That's what I have an issue with.
To enjoy the benefits.
Exactly.
The reason why I kept going back to the Irish person, because I was addressing the actual comment of that person saying, I am Irish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they literally, like, at some point, we were all going through it together, but they benefited at some point.
Because they were able to blend in.
They all
at
blend
some point.
in,
Because black people don't blend in. You never blend in.
And we didn't even touch on mortgages, friendly business loans, nepotism. We didn't even touch on all of that.
It's funny because when you say that, when there was redlining, that didn't impact Irish people.
But you got to understand,
that's like,
not even that, Nelson. We had to discover redlining. It wasn't like somebody said, oh, they're redlining, it took years and years of black people having to discover redlining. It wasn't just like we knew about it.
When Jim Crow laws were enacted, it wasn't Irish people or any person that was white that was hanging from a tree. It was black people.
Yep.
Exactly. Somebody look what we were through. Stop it.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on to the last two comments.
All right, last two comments. Go ahead.
Comment number 4, you're not a victim. Comment number 5, you're brain dead.
No, we're not a victim. We're not.
We don't even have victim mentalities.
No, we don't.
Your
But we
brain dead.
still
The fact that we were able to like just have this conversation.
You don't
shows
have to be a victim to get what you deserve. That was an idiotic statement. Then the brain dead shit. It's just all right. I'm just gonna keep it real. Those two comments is I'm white and I say so type of comments.
Yeah.
Like saying I'm brain dead and saying you're not a victim. You don't have to be a victim to get what you're owed. That doesn't make sense.
What it feels like to me sometimes with most of the comments that we got, basically they assume that, like, I'll give you an example. For me, I'm Dominican and I'm an immigrant. They assume that by default, I'm going to benefit from any of this shit.
Yeah.
It's okay for me to actually support reparations and not benefit and still be okay with that. I don't need to benefit from it.
Not
Right?
even
Like,
that.
that's exactly
I'm glad Nelson said that too, because I bet when y'all watched this show, y'all thought all of us was going to benefit from reparations. No, it was actually people that didn't benefit from reparations that agree with it.
Yeah.
And that's my stance with it. It's like, even if it's not your business, like even with Ukraine getting their money, y'all don't have a fucking say-so on Ukraine getting money. They're going to get money regardless because the higher ups said they're going to get money. Just like y'all don't have a say-so on reparations. So the backlash when a lot of people got forms of reparations, that pisses me off, because when it's our turn, it's like we didn't do nothing, we didn't do this. Even Japanese got a form of reparations after we bombed them.
Asians.
Yeah, Asians too.
Everybody got their money.
But we don't deserve it after helping build this country.
When it comes to anything black, it's always a question mark. It always, they don't deserve this. They're not going to do what's right with the money. We're afraid that they're going to take the money and just let it go to waste.
Business.
Like, come on, man.
It's you know what it feels like? It's like a waiting out of the clock.
Yeah.
Let's wait 400 more years so that by that point, now actually we're so far removed that this conversation doesn't even have to take place. Are we still talking about this 1,000 years later?
Yes.
Basically, like that type of shit. It feels like wait the clock out.
I think the temperament of black people, we're not going to be waiting 1,000 years for this shit. This shit going to change up. I think a lot of black people
that's the language I like.
A lot of black people is on that timing.
Yes.
You're not going to be able to just talk your talk and get in the office and then we just going to be like, okay. That's exactly what the fuck Biden's going through right now. He's going to see.
I wanted to add what he said, you're not going to just talk your talk.
Yeah, you're not.
I have a problem with a few people throwing in my face the Disney version of Dr. King. That has to stop. We're going to be more like Malcolm X. The Disney version is, love is love your neighbor, love your people. No, this country was built on blood and bloodshed, and people did everything they had to do to get what they want. And at the end of the day, at some point, we're going to have to look at ourselves in the mirror and see, are we going to do what Malcolm X said, and by any means necessary? You know what I mean? There's only so long we can talk. At some point we have to make a decision.
Well, that's what I'm saying. People have been talking from the 60s to the 90s. It's 2020 something. Nobody gonna keep talking. The whole talking game, and ain't gonna work no more.
They're gonna hate this video. You want to know why? Because they can't stand this conversation. They want to put it under the rug. They want to bury it. They don't want to have this. They want us to get over it. We're all the same now. We're all equal. Stop it. It's not.
The majority of the time, though, the reason that it's an uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah,
that's why it doesn't feel good to have the conversation.
Yeah, because nobody wants to be held accountable.
You avoid it, and then you avoid it, and it festers, and you don't have to deal with.
But yet they could benefit off of it. You know what I mean?
But I know what's going to happen after this video. We're probably going to have a lot of people give us even worse comments, maybe, and that's okay.
Yeah,
ultimately, we want to respond to it just because, like, hey, you guys said some stuff. Now we get to say some stuff.
Yeah.
We may respond to the next ones. We reserve the right.
Yeah, just make sure it's intellectual.
Yeah,
we're not gonna respond to your brain dead. You're acting like a victim.
Yeah.
The whole
get a job.
Yeah, the whole I'm white and I say so comments. We're not gonna respond to that. We'll respond to shit like I'm from Ireland because he actually thought he had a fucking point talking about another country, dummy.
Yep.
But we done. Cool. All right.